Welcome to our Xeen lens comparison tests, where we take the Xeen and we compare it to the Zeiss CP2, the Canon Cine, as well as the benchmark Cooke S4 primes. We're going to start with the 14mm today. We have Red Dragons with a standard OLPF in there. We're keeping our IRE values at 55 to 65 on Monet's skin tone. We have a temp set at 3200 Kelvin, and we're at a 180 degree shutter angle. All right, this is the Xeen 14mm at a T3.5. The contrast range is looking, it's snappy, obviously. She's pulling out from the background, which looks really nice. It seems sharp. All right, let's move on to the next one. So we're going to take the Xeen versus the Canon. Now let's talk three-dimensional quality. I think the Xeen has more of a three-dimensional quality that resembles somewhat like the Cooke's, because she feels like she's pulling from the background, and we're going to go to the Xeen versus the Zeiss. The way it handles the highlights, I think the Zeiss and the Xeen are a pretty good match. And I think the three-dimensional quality is pretty good for both pieces of glass as well. Okay, and now we will play the final, which will be the Xeen versus the Cooke. Bend factor, the Xeen feels like it's a little more in the bend factor mode. This one, the Cooke is literally bending like that. Three-dimensional quality, I think the glass both exhibit really good three-dimensional quality, pulling her from the background. Flare factor-wise, we're getting a little more blooming out of that than the Cooke's. But the big thing is I'm just seeing a really nice gradation, and the way it transitions into the shadow areas. Now we're moving on to quad screen. Cooke is the least contrast. Then it's Canon, then it's Xeen, then it's Zeiss. All right, now we're going to go at a T5.6. So here's our Xeen again. At a 5.6, that's definitely popped up. So that's working well. So maybe, shooting the Xeens on a 14mm, you'd want to shoot more at a 4.5. So you could get that resolving quality, the best out of the glass. Here comes the quad. The Xeen makes Monette feel a little wider. The Canon makes her a little thinner, and her face stretches a little longer. The Cooke makes it really pulls her from the background. The Zeiss has this cooler effect. All right, that concludes the Xeen lens comparison tests with the 14mm.